Hey, it's James, Follows Rights and Resources, hashtag how I got custody. So here's an example of a dad who really wants to fight and get going. This dad was totally lost. He's been through, I think, two attorneys at least, maybe three. He's on supervised visitation for some bogus allegations. So he was falsely accused. What happened was, like what happens a lot. He was falsely accused of having mental problems. He had to go get some court-ordered, evaluation. And then they cleared him in the evaluation. But in the meantime, he was restricted. And then I was telling him about Chalkson versus Granville. They assume you're a fit parent. If you haven't been found to be an unfit parent, they assume that you act in the best interest of the child. So, if you act in the best interest of the child, why are they restricting you? He said his attorneys never even thought of that, never told him that. Because it's in Washington, I showed him my link to the law in Washington and all of the 191 factors in RCW 2609-191 that the mother should be restricted and the stuff that she's doing should be restricted. He actually was a victim of domestic violence from the mom, and his most recent attorney that he recently fired. I'm going to get to this is what a real dad does who really wants to fight. But usually, it's when a dad's at the end of his rope, when he's really desperate and totally getting screwed. And after you run through 3 or 4 attorneys and you go, maybe that James guy is right. Maybe he is right. But this guy knew the first time he saw me that I knew what I'm talking about, because he saw I was calling BS on the system, on dads who don't fight, on what the attorneys are doing and not doing. And he called me immediately. But here's the other thing. He was a victim of domestic violence, and his attorney said, we can't bring that up. Look at your size. You're bigger than her. Which is the most asinine thing in the world, because if a woman punches you, let's say you got a big gut, she punches you and it doesn't even faze you, that's still an act of domestic violence. And if she doesn't succeed at inflicting harm upon you, that means, and it should be an assumption, that she's capable of figuring out something worse, like sending her new boyfriend who's got a gun, or poisoning you, or whatever. I think women commit more murders of spouses than men do. But, that being said, the attorney wouldn't even go to court and wouldn't bring this up. If I shoot somebody, I had another case where, a woman spit on a dude, but she missed him. And the cop said, well, she missed. Okay. See, this is where you guys got to have some damn common sense and some ingenuity. When you understand who you are and your rights, then you won't take no for an answer. Then you won't be a pussy and let somebody say something stupid and just walk away. I told this dad what he should have said. This is another dad. He got spit on and she missed. I've told people this before, when you take somebody's stupid logic, when somebody says something stupid, like what that lady says, okay, so if I swing at the mother and she ducks and I hit her, I didn't commit domestic violence because I missed, according to your logic, because I didn't hurt her. Or, in this case with the spit, let's take it to an extreme example. If I shoot at somebody with a gun and I don't hit them, do I not get charged with attempted murder or attempted assault? It wasn't successful, but there's still a crime for it. See, all these people are walking around like zombies with a spell cast over them, like the Book of Narnia, the Chronicles of Narnia. That whole kingdom had a spell over it. And then when Aslan rose from the dead, then he breathed on everybody and everything came, flowers started blooming and all this other stuff. Or, you're in the Twilight Zone. You're in a totally different zone or another world. You have to correct these people. You shouldn't be waiting and trusting and hoping that they become your savior and they come and rescue you. You should use the judge and use the court system and use a police officer to your advantage. This person just came and called the cops and lied about you. You turn around and say, look, I don't have any marks on me. Or she doesn't have any marks on her. I got marks on me. Look, there's a mark on my back. I had a guy who, he had bite marks on his back, and the mother was trying to say she was a victim of domestic violence, and he made her look stupid, and she lost her protection order. But the guy was such a pussy, he didn't go for Civil Rule 11 sanctions. He didn't press charges for the crime of false reporting. He didn't go on the offensive. He let her torture him and torment him in court. And then he was just so relieved to walk away and not get a restraining order that he didn't hold her accountable. You should want to finish the job. Only pussies sit there, you're in a fight with somebody and you make them miss and, they beat you down and you escape. What boxers and MMA fighters do is they turn around and they fight that person and knock them out. You don't just sit there, oh God, I'm glad I escaped, and the round is still going, there's 2 minutes left in the round, you just stand there and do nothing, then you attack. For crying out loud. That being said, this guy who had an attorney who said, oh, you're too big, we can't even attempt to claim you're a victim of domestic violence. There's all kinds of information out there showing women commit domestic violence. Yeah, we're bigger and stronger, so they use weapons and pots and pans and their heels kick you in. There's a former pro baseball player. You know that, if any of you remember that 80s song from Whitesnake, I can't remember this, is Here I Go Again, I think is the name of the title, the lady in that video. She was stomping this guy in the head while he's driving with her heels, and she got arrested for domestic violence. Now, she was successful. She pounded him with her heels, and it was a vicious case of domestic violence, but women do that stuff all the time. And just because somebody hits me and it doesn't hurt, doesn't mean I want somebody to hit me and it's okay. See, and this is where, if you know the law yourself and you read it, domestic violence is hitting somebody, harming them, inflicting the fear of harm. She qualified as domestic violence, and the attorney at law said, we can't win in a court of law, even though she violated law, because look at you. She was going off of the perception and the culture of the court, and she's either a radical feminist herself, or she's under the spell of radical feminism and thinking she can't even try. Why? Why wouldn't you even try? And so the guy was frustrated because he knew he should have at least been able to try, and I'm telling him, yeah, I'm the first person who told him, yeah, you should at least try. So the thing was, this guy said he saw my videos and called me within an hour. And then he set up an appointment. And now we're moving forward to get on the offensive in his case. He took decisive action. A lot of you guys are indecisive. You call me and say, oh, will you charge for your time? I didn't know that. Okay. You can't save a few $20 bills to learn how to fight for your kid. You don't give a shit. You're a pussy. Fine, but that's your problem. You want to talk to me, but money's an obstacle. After you spent $10, $20, $30, $40,000 on an attorney. While you go out and buy fast food and play video games. And go out and get the latest and greatest Air Jordans or whatever type of dress shoes you like or whatever. Guys will text me and go back and forth. Hey, are you available? Yeah, I don't hear for 2 days. Hey, I'd like to schedule an appointment. Okay, what day and time would you like? I'm wide open, like I usually am, except for a couple times. When somebody asks for an appointment, I usually got a couple appointments scheduled, and that's about it. I'm not booked out a week or two. I never get booked out because dads are pussies. And even though I have 7,500 followers on YouTube, I get several calls and texts for serious inquiries of people who really want help. That's a few here and there. And see, I can't rescue dads who don't want help. And dads want somebody else to rescue them. You're the person who needs to rescue your kids, so you need to get empowered. You need to get empowered to rescue your kid, because you're the hero and the only one who cares enough about your kids. See, you want everybody else to care. I got guys who want and cry all the time. How come the mother does this? Why can't she think logically? Why can't she think for her kids? Because you had kids with a crazy person, dumbass. Now it's time to go to war and fight for your kid. What are you going to do? Be decisive. This guy was decisive, and now he's on his way. He's still on supervised visits. He has been for the past year. His attorney didn't even tell him about reconsideration or revision. He said, I learned more from you in 1 hour talking to you than I've learned in the past year. That's what everybody always tells me when they tell me how much they learn. Yet, guys are indecisive. Well, I don't know about James. I don't know. Or they text me, and they want a quickie freebie. And they call me, and they want to yik and yak about stuff. And then they say they want an appointment, and every 3 or 4 days, they ask me one sentence, and they add a detail. This guy was ready to go. Why are you not ready to go? Be decisive. If you're not decisive, you're wasting time, and you're losing the battle, and you're backtracking.